Interview with Mary Kay is brought to us by Built. Nobody likes paying rent, but if you must, you might as well get something for it. That's where Built comes in. Built is changing the game by turning your rent payments into real rewards you can use when you pay rent through Built. You can earn flexible points that can be redeemed toward hundreds of hotels and airlines, a future rent payment, or your next Lyft ride. But Built isn't just about rent. It's about rewarding you and your entire neighborhood. Turn your rent into rewards and start earning points around your neighborhood by going to joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNFL. That is joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNFL to make sure you use that link so they know we sent you guys. And with that, we are thrilled to welcome Mary Kay Cabot to the show. How you doing today, Mary Kay?
I'm doing great, guys. How you doing?
We're doing well, Mary Kay. Thank you for joining us. Somebody was just asking me, so I'll bring it up to you. Even though the Titans' offensive line, to be fair, was a disaster, so it's not like Bill Callahan's a miracle worker. He can't fix everything. But his son gets fired. He left the Titans. Do you think the Browns would call him and try to get him back at least as a consultant or something with the team? Or is that something that might happen in the offseason but not right now?
I tweeted that the minute I saw that Brian was fired yesterday.
Yeah.
I tweeted that the Browns should go ahead and call him up and bring him in and make him a senior offensive consultant and or assistant or whatever the case may be. And I also wrote it in a story that I wrote that posted yesterday as well. So I absolutely think that he could help. He's amazing with red zone. He's amazing with blocking schemes and all of that. And they need all the help that they can get in those areas. So I would definitely do that. I don't know if they will do that or not. We haven't had a chance to talk to anybody yet about anything like that. It's Tuesday. Everybody's kind of off. Everybody's regrouping. But we will probably revisit that again tomorrow, or I'll try to dig around and see what I can find out.
Mary Kay, the world wants to know, the city of Cleveland wants to know, make the case of why Kevin should continue being the head coach for the Cleveland Browns. What is it? What's the good things? Because people right now see none. So what do you see that's like, all right, this is why he should remain the coach?
Well, one of the things that I see when I look out there right now is an offense that I think it would be very, very difficult for many NFL head coaches to be successful with. They have a rookie quarterback who just made his second NFL start in Pittsburgh against a very grizzled Steelers defense that was just going to want to tear his head off and pretty much try to do that on every single play. There are tackle problems. You lose your left tackle at the start of the season, and that's been an ongoing issue. Jack Conklin, he's been injured over there on the right side. So once again, they're starting the season with tackle issues, which was part of the problem at the beginning of last season. And then you look at the skill players, and it's just a world of hurt there too. There are all kinds of rookie players that are just really not ready. It was an unfair fight in Pittsburgh. They're not ready to go up against the likes of all of these guys that the Pittsburgh Steelers have on their defense. They were just overmatched. And then when you look at your veteran players, they're not coming through for the Browns right now in the way that they need to. So it's been a recipe for disaster, and it's not going the way that it should have gone by any stretch of the imagination. I've said this from early on in the offseason. If they were able to get good, clean quarterback play, they should have been able to win 7 games this year. 7, maybe 8 games, if they could have gotten good quarterback play. They haven't gotten that, and it's just kind of unraveled from there.
Okay, you said all of those things about the injuries and about the players and all of that. Andrew Berry, go. Andrew Berry.
Well, once again, the way that the season was supposed to play out, they were supposed to have Quinshawn from the start of the season. It didn't help them that they didn't, although he's definitely caught up from there. And then you move to the quarterback situation. The way that it was supposed to go is that Kenny Pickett was supposed to be one of those guys that you rescue him off the scrap heap. We don't know if it would have worked or not, but you're supposed to rescue Kenny off the scrap heap and throw him into the starting lineup for maybe the first half of the season to have him hold down the fort until your rookies were ready to go. And that plan just went down the tubes early on when Kenny suffered that hamstring injury. It pivoted everything then over to Joe Flacco, and Joe was not able to play that clean ball that we're talking about. He turned the ball over 8 times. That's why he's gone. That's why he was not going to start any more games for the Cleveland Browns this year, because he wasn't going to be able to play the clean football that they needed. So it just kind of went to heck in a handbasket based on sort of what happened with the quarterback situation. Again, I've said it many, many times. If you had taken a top 15 quarterback from anywhere, I don't know where you would have gotten that guy. If you would have taken a top 15 quarterback and plugged him into this offense, I think you could have won 7 or 8 games this year.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I mean, yes, the offensive line is bad. We didn't know how bad. You could have been more competitive. I think the offensive line has gotten so bad that maybe you would have fallen short. But going into the season, if you would have said you have the 15th best quarterback in the league, I would have said the Browns could have made the playoffs. Now, I think in the end, the offensive line's too bad to overcome unless you had a superstar quarterback. But who knows? In the same vein with Andrew Berry, Mary Kay, obviously Mike Tomlin made those comments yesterday, which were surprising to us. He doesn't usually do that. What did you make of that whole thing?
Well, first of all, it seemed like Mike Tomlin was in a little tiny bit of a mood. And sometimes you step up to the podium and you're human and you're in some kind of a mood. When he walked off the podium, he said to the reporters, you guys annoyed me today. I don't know if you guys saw that clip or not, but I mean, that was funny, actually. But let's remember something about Mike Tomlin right now. He has a dog in this race, and Andrew Berry just made it harder for him by shipping Joe Flacco to the Bengals, right? I mean, they were pretty much almost stick a fork in him. They're dead. Joe Flacco went out and played pretty well for them against the Packers on Sunday. And I think Mike Tomlin would much rather be facing Jake Browning on Sunday than Joe Flacco, who, even though he's lost a step a little bit perhaps, I think that he would much rather face Jake Browning than Joe Flacco, who's got that big arm to be able to get that ball to Jamar Chase and Andre Yoshivash. So he's got a dog in this race. He doesn't want to have to face Joe Flacco. And now the Bengals, if they can kind of get it together and Joe gets acclimated, maybe they can make a little bit of a run in this messed up AFC North. So I kind of can see where he was coming from there.
You know, Mary Kay, I look at it, you know, Kevin Stefanski says he's not going to turn over the play calling, and I expected him to say that. But, I mean, is there any, is there any hope in him saying, look, hey, Tommy Rees, you got 2 quarterbacks that you're going to probably deal with, either Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel. They both played in college. You have an extensive knowledge with the playbook. And sometimes with college playbooks, they're good at smoke and mirrors. They can run some different things to deviate and delineate some of the problems on the outside. Do you think what would need to take place for him to say, hey, Tommy, take over the play calling, and I'm going to just coach this thing out? Do you see that happening?
Well, I suppose it might happen. He considered doing it this week. Sometimes I think he doesn't do it when he knows the offense is such a mess that you would basically be throwing that next guy under the bus. And that might not be something that he would want to do to Tommy in his first year as offensive coordinator of the Cleveland Browns. If the Browns had some really healthy tackles and an experienced quarterback and some experienced skill players and some veterans who weren't dropping the ball, then it might make sense to turn it over to Tommy Rees and for Kevin to oversee the whole process. And they might still decide to do that. But when it is already kind of, just a mess, I don't know if that's the time to turn it over to Tommy and throw him the hot potato and say, here, you do something with it. So I think Kevin is letting the buck stop with him right now. We'll see how it goes.
Mary Kay, Jack Conklin got hurt last week. David Njoku. What's the latest on them and anybody else that got banged up last week, as far as you know?
Well, we haven't heard anything. Someone mentioned to me yesterday that they don't think that David's knee injury is serious, but of course there's grades of serious and not serious. Does he have to miss a game? Does he have to miss 2 games? I don't know yet. Once again, everybody's kind of regrouping on a Tuesday, so I haven't really gotten a chance to talk to anybody about those injuries yet. I have checked into some of them, but no definitive word yet. David Njoku is instrumental, of course, in your blocking schemes and as well as your passing game. So they really can't afford to be without him. He's a very, very, very big part of the offense. And I thought some of the protection problems on Sunday had to do with the fact that he was in and out of the lineup and then finally, ultimately, out of the game in the 4th quarter. So, he's big for them in terms of chipping and picking up blitzes and all the kind of blocking stuff that he does, as well as being out on routes in the passing game. So they really need the chief.
What did you think of Dillon Gabriel's performance, and what can they do to protect him so we can see more? Because 52 times, a lot of hits. Ooh, what did you think?
Well, first of all, you were going against a very well-rested Pittsburgh Steelers defense. I mean, they had rested up for this, and they were probably licking their chops. A rookie quarterback, Mike Tomlin eats rookie quarterbacks for breakfast. He's now 27-6 against rookie quarterbacks. So even if you had a really good supporting cast and a healthy offensive line, it's going to be really tough to go into Pittsburgh in that hostile environment and try to win a football game. But they just went after him. They went after him, and then the other thing that they decided to do was completely take Quinshon out of the football game. If you do that, your rookie is not going to be supported very well. Still, having to pass it 52 times, that's a disaster. That's why I advocated heading into the weekend, that they should let Bailey Zappi be the number 2. You could have thrown Bailey Zappi into that game and into the fourth quarter and let him try to navigate this of a game. But they couldn't do that with Shedeur. And I think that was a mistake. I think it was a mistake. They rushed Shedeur into being the number 2 in a game that he probably absolutely would have had no business being in right now. So didn't love that idea. But Dillon, he was under so much duress and he was under siege that I think it's hard to be precise in your passing game in those situations. But I have concerns about the red zone accuracy. There's just not enough good things going on in the red zone right now. And they have to take a really good, unflinching look at that and figure that out. If the problems that happened in the red zone were largely because he wasn't able to get the ball there on time or accurately enough, then they've got to think about what they're doing there. So it's a tough call. It's a tough call right now because they don't really have anybody else to go to try to help solve this problem.
Thanks. Go ahead.
Just really quickly, since Shedeur, you mentioned Shedeur being the backup quarterback number 2, what have you seen from Shedeur in his demeanor or his process since being named backup quarterback, and what do you think, is the difference, or have you seen a difference from him being a number 3 emergency quarterback to what you've seen in a couple of days of him being the backup?
I haven't really seen anything different per se, but what I do see every single day in practice when he is throwing routes on sort of the 2-spot field over there to most of his backup guys, what I do see and what I have seen from day one, and I tweeted this out the other day, and it just sent people into some kind of a tizzy over this, and all I was trying to say is, right? Like, I said the backup quarterback has elite accuracy, and he does. That was and is his superpower in this competition. And when I say superpower, I use that term lightly. Each one of these guys had a couple of strengths or one big strength in the 4-way competition. And Shedeur's is his accuracy. And so I made that point the other day because it's not something that you can necessarily teach, or if you can teach it, you can't teach it quickly. You can learn it over time and you can get more accurate, but he comes into the NFL with a nice, natural, and elite accuracy, and I think that will serve him well. But you have to have everything else too. You have to be able to know what you're looking at. You have to be able to read those defenses. You have to be able to get out of the way. You can't be retreating. So that's not going to get you where you need to go, but it is a nice trait to have, and that's the only point that I was trying to make there. And that's what I see. That's what I see in practice, and I have for a long time. I mean, if a guy can be in the end zone and he can be tightly covered, and Shedeur can fit the ball in there really, really well. And you guys will see that when he gets a chance to play. But he would have to be able to have the time to be able to do that. And I don't know if that exists right now.
Yeah, and I don't know if irrational conversations in any way about Shedeur Sanders exist either. It is not possible at the moment. Thanks, Mary Kay. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right now.
Sure. Thanks, guys.
Mary